What's good, fatherhood? Welcome to this episode of Uncommon the Dad Work podcast with special guest myself. It's just me. It's just me today. And if you know me personally, you know I don't really like to talk about myself. I really don't like to talk about myself. I don't really give a shit about me. I want to know about you. I want to help people in my life. And me, not important. But just like Batman and the good one, Batman Begins and Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Returns. Is that the one? Is that the one? None of the other ones. And maybe 1987, 89? I don't remember the date anymore. Batman with none other than Tim Burton and Michael Keaton. Just like that, everybody has to have an origin story. And I hate talking about myself, but I'm going to talk about myself today. Because the question really is, guys, why the hell should anybody listen to me? Why should you listen to me? Why should anybody listen to anything that I have to say? And you know what? I'm just going to let you make up your mind on that. I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to lay it all out here for you. I'm going to let you make up your mind. Because like I tell my students, I tell them, do not believe a single word that I tell you. Don't believe one single word. Try it. Try what I'm talking about. Put the practices, the wisdom, the mindsets into practice. And then you tell me whether it works or not. And that's it, guys. That is it. So if anybody's here in the chat, and I see a few of you hanging out, feel free to drop into the chat. Ask questions. That's why I do this thing here on Instagram Live primarily, because you are a part of this thing. This isn't just about me talking. This is about you. This is about getting you the support. Not me, you, your family, your wife, your kids, your life. So if you're here, feel free to drop it in the chat. Any questions that you've got, we're going to go through it. But why the hell am I here? I could be like Louis in Interview with the Vampire and tell you I was born, I grew up, and then, he became a vampire. But that's not where I'm going to go. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. And I honestly, man, I had a wonderful childhood, a wonderful upbringing. And I imagine that for the large part, if you look at your life, it's the same way. It's the same way. There's nothing catastrophic that happened. Maybe no major traumas. Maybe you do have some trauma. And this whole trauma thing in the world right now, in psychology, we can call it that, I really think that a large part of it is overblown. But that doesn't mean that it's not important for us to look back into our past and to understand what is happening. What is the program that we are running? Where did that come from? And to see not the people that did this to us and our parents, but what they had to deal with, the programs that they were running. Because all of this stuff, guys, if you're here, I grew up in the 90s. My parents got divorced, I think, when I was in second grade. I spent a lot of time watching television. One of my favorite things to watch on Betamax, I would just sit in the basement at the bar that my dad built and watch Star Wars over and over and over again, was Star Wars. And think about this for a moment. What was it? What was the story? Whether it was on TV or shows or books or things that you came up with that really captivated you as a kid, because it's going to tell you a whole lot about where you are right now, why you are where you are, who you are as a person, and the way out of it. Star Wars, though, for the male in particular, is so very important, guys. And there's so much temptation in this movement, and men's work and dad's work, to reject the father. And you have to pause for a second. You have to pay attention to Luke Skywalker, to Anakin. Fuck everything that came after that. Honestly, it's terrible. I'll fight you on it. But really, you guys have to pay attention, because it is not about killing the father, rejecting the father, blaming the father for all of your wrongs and all of your problems. It's not about that. If you pay attention to Star Wars, which is an ancient story, and I'm not like, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Maybe. Really, guys, this is the hero's journey. This is a journey. This is a story older than time. This is an archetypal story. This is the path that every single man must go through. Our girls are different. Every single man must go into the cave and face the dragon, face Darth Vader. And every single man must shatter the curse of the father. And this isn't just your dad. We're not talking about daddy issues. This is the line of the father, the paternal line. The paternal line carries a curse. This is the things that you inherit. It is the role of every man to go into the cave, into the abyss, to face Darth Vader, to face the dragon, and to either fail, tuck his tail, and run, or to slay the dragon, guys. And yeah, Fred, I see you in the chat. I will definitely love to chat with you on this. We have to break the curse. And women, your story is very different. It is a parallel tale, but it is not the hero's journey. It is not about breaking. The feminine tale is one of healing, and that's a story for a different time. That's not for me to tell you. That's for a women's coach and a guide to take you through. A man can't tell you about being a woman. I can't do it. This is not about slaying the father, though. This is about, like Luke did, redeeming the father. This is our work, guys. I'm going to take you through my story. And I want you not just to listen to me and be like, wow, that's cool, or yeah, wow, that's bullshit. I want you to put your story in this framework as well. Luke Skywalker was my hero, a rebel, will stand against the darkness, no matter the cost, and do it by himself. Pay attention. Who is the hero in your life? Who did you model yourself on unconsciously? Maybe consciously. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. Wonderful childhood, wonderful upbringing. No real complaints, but we have to go through this, right? My parents got divorced right around when I was in second grade. And okay, I spent a lot of time by myself. But up until that time, before they got divorced, I love my dad. I can remember 3 times that he really got on the ground and played with me. And I guarantee there are far more, many times than that. But the thing is, this is what kids' little brains, this is what your little psychology remembers. That's what I remember. That's what I remember. And that is because this man was working to provide for us so my mom could stay home with me at the time. And at the same time, I was working 2 jobs to do that, working at a gas station to provide. And then when he was home, and I know that you are going to see yourself in this, because I see myself in this. When you're home on the weekends, you have shit to do around the house. You have projects. I remember him either working, or I remember him working on things around the house. I remember playing with him. Like, there's 3 occasions that I cherish that I really remember. My parents got divorced then when I was in second grade, and I spent a lot of time watching a lot of TV, a lot of movies. Probably shouldn't have, but I watched a lot of Westerns, a lot of Clint Eastwood Westerns, Star Wars knighthood movies. Dragonheart came out a little bit later. I was enthralled by Dragonheart, became a book series, all that stuff. But I really fell in love with this stoic hero who he didn't get thrown off by things. Hey, sweetie, my daughter's here. He didn't get thrown off with things. He didn't get emotionally caught up in things. He just sucked it up. He got the job done. He didn't take too much fanfare because he was just like, hey, this is my role. This is what I do. And I fell in love with that. And like many men, I imagine, you fell in love with something similar. I modeled myself, sometimes consciously I did this, but mostly unconsciously, on this kind of stoic hero. Like, I'm going to do what's right. And you know what? I'm not going to feel badly about it. I'm just going to suck it up and do it. Just taping over my emotional gauges. No feeling, just like, do the hard thing, be tough. Spent a lot of time watching TV. Spent every other weekend with my dad, saw him on Wednesdays. But most of the time was with my mom. So very feminized, and it's a very common thing in our generation to have really feminized males who don't really understand. And it's not about conscious understanding, it's about embodying what masculinity is. Very uncomfortable in groups of dudes. Very uncomfortable with being assertive. Very comfortable with saying, okay, honey, yeah, we'll do that, whatever you want, right? This is how this stuff shows up. Spent time with my grandfather in the summers, and love my grandfather. Amazing man, but also a little bit of a temper, and I'm sure that you've experienced this. I have a phone-throwing temper. I have a thing-throwing temper. I will throw inanimate objects and shatter them when I get pissed off about things. And I remember seeing him when we were on a fishing trip. It was just me and him. He got pissed off at the boat motor. I know that you've done it. I know I've done it with the lawnmower. Stupid piece of shit, like kicking it around. And as a kid, like, I felt fear. I felt fear. I was scared. I never thought that he would do that to me, but it was so fucking uncomfortable. And no wonder why I'm afraid as I grow older of masculinity, afraid of being assertive, and I totally excommunicate from my being anger. Never acceptable under any circumstance. These are things we have to pay attention to. I get a little bit older. My mom meets a guy. She remarries, and it was really cool to have a man in the house that I could see. And he was a business owner, entrepreneur. That was really cool. Worked really hard. Thought it was cool that he ran his own business. Worked his ass off from like sunrise to sundown. Come home, turn the TV on, maybe have a beer, kick his feet up. And that was that. But I remember hearing them physically fighting in the middle of the night when they probably thought I was asleep. And that's really scary for a young kid, 5th grade. What are you gonna do? It makes you feel very helpless. These are things that get ingrained into the nervous system. Later on, he developed alcohol problems, and maybe he had them the whole time. Won't go too deeply into it, but spent some time in jail later on. I remember being told, hey, answer the door and anybody's there, don't tell them that I'm here. And answering the door for the police and being like, hey, yeah, he's here. Remember those things. Kids internalize these things. And these things become programs. These things become patterns. These things become things that we act out later in life. We're like, why do I do that? These events that happen in our childhood, they get programmed in. And then it takes work, a lot of work for us to unwind them. This isn't even just about you. This isn't even just about me. This is about how you're building your children, your sons, your daughters, through the ways that you show up, through the balls that you're willing to grab yourself by and face and shatter these cycles once and for all. I graduate high school. I go to college. I don't know if you know, but I'm a certified secondary educator. I should and probably should be teaching high school history. More than that, government at this point. That's my favorite thing. But I'm not doing that. Graduated college. Applied for 50 different teaching jobs. In Illinois, it's a very challenging place to get a job unless you know somebody. I didn't know people. Worked at a gas station nights. Had been working out, training myself for a little while. Had friends and family starting to approach me like, hey, can you teach me how to work out? And so I got certified in that and started working as a personal trainer as well. And real quickly, I had this work ethic. I worked my ass off in college. I would be like, hey guys, I'm going to sleep and getting up at 3 a.m. to go to Dunkin' Donuts and make some money and do some work and then go to the gym and then go to my classes as well as I possibly could while my buddies were out drinking. I have a work ethic. And because I had a work ethic, within 10 months, I was making about $10,000 every single month at the gym I was at, which is really fucking awesome. And my managers were like, wow, you work really hard. People like you. Do you want to come into management? And I was like, hell yes, I want to come into management. And so I started climbing that management ladder. At this same time, I met a girl. And without getting too far into my previous history, I had watching my parents get divorced and then my mom get double divorced and seeing just her marriages. I was like, man, I don't think I ever want to get married. And my relationships, I was like, I don't think I ever want to get married. And also, like, I don't think I ever want to have kids because, like, why would I want to give this to them, this cycle to them? Why would I want to put them in this situation? But I met this girl. And there was something about her. And I started climbing this corporate ladder. My dad's vice president of commercial lending for a bank. He's got this awesome title, taught me to work really hard. I saw that through his example, taught me that these things were important, taught me that my reputation was important. So I followed that same path and climbed and made money and got myself a title, got in line to run my own training department, got in line to run my own big box fitness club. And made excellent money, $75,000 plus, depending on how much I was selling. Because personal training is not about training people; it's a sales gig. Remember what anybody tells you, that's what it is. I was making good money in my early 20s, and I bought this sexy Volkswagen CC right when they came out. I got the best one possible because I wanted to keep up with my coworkers who were driving around high-end Audis, maybe Audi. I don't know, it doesn't matter. In the parking lot, and working 60-hour weeks. At the end of the month, because, training isn't about training, it's a sales job. It's like, when are we going home? I don't know, maybe midnight, because we have a sales quota to make. That was the dream, right? Living the dream, climbing the ladder. That's what I did. And one day, I got permission to skip the manager's meeting so that I could take my wife on a date for her birthday. And we're in Chicago, so no, we're not going to a Cubs game. We're going to a White Sox game, because we are White Sox fans and Cubs fans. Just, go away. Kidding, really. But yeah, the Cubs, they suck. So, but taking her to a White Sox game for her birthday, something that should have been a ton of fun. I was excited about it. She was excited about it. We're going to see fireworks. And I'm working in Skokie, outside of Chicago. I'm driving to pick her up at the train station at the Metro so I can take her into the city. I'm driving down I-94. You have to know I'm CrossFit competition fit here. I'm strong, conditioned. I'm leaner than I probably should be. And so I know what it feels like to be doing a really intense workout, the kind that wipes you out for the day, if not the week. And I'm driving in my car, and I'm digging my fingernails into the grooves that I had dug into my steering wheel, which, maybe it's not normal to have fingernail grooves dug into your steering wheel, right? Maybe it's not normal to have fingernail grooves dug into your steering wheel. But I didn't know that. And my fingernails were dug deeply into those fingernail grooves, and I'm breathing like I'm in the middle of a CrossFit WOD. I'm just driving my car to take my wife on a date. My heart is pounding out of my chest like I am Roger Rabbit and I just saw Jessica Rabbit. Yes, that's how much it's pounding out of my chest. I'm clenching my teeth. I can smell the dirty interior of the car because, when you're in your 20s, you just don't really take that good care of them. And I'm like, something's not right here. This is not right. And a lot of the guys that I meet with, guys, will come to me, and after a little while after we're chatting, they'll tell me something similar. Some of the guys have even gone to the hospital thinking that they have had a heart attack, only to find out that they had. Me, driving in my car, I-94, living at the edge, on the verge of panic, as anxiety is starting to boil over into something bigger. And in that moment, I don't know what it was, but something clicked for me. And I was like, this needs to stop. This cannot go any further. This can't go any further. Here I am taking my wife on a date and I'm hyperventilating. Can't catch my breath. I feel fucking terrified of who the fuck knows. But in this moment, I recognized something was wrong. And I got honest with myself that I could no longer hide that I was extremely anxious, a ton of anxiety. I really hated my job. I love training people. I love doing nutrition coaching. I love doing metabolic testing and testing people's metabolism, telling them here's how much you need to eat scientifically. Here's where you need to train heart rate wise. But all the other shit, I hated it. I'm living on the edge of panic. I have excessively, dangerously high blood pressure for somebody in their 20s. I feel more distant and disconnected from my wife than ever. We had gotten engaged, we were getting married. Even though we're living the dream, 60-hour work weeks, making good money, we're living together. We got sexy cars. We go out on the weekends. We have, we go to fancy cocktail bars. We go to nice dinners. We're doing all this stuff, right? It looks great. We get home. We pass out on the couch next to each other, watching Jimmy Kimmel. We get up at 5 a.m. to do it again the next day, more distant, more disconnected than ever. She used to greet me at the door on Thursday evenings, which was the end of my work week, with dinner, home-cooked meal, made, delicious, in lingerie, and I was too fucking tired to do anything about it, exhausted. We're more distant and disconnected from ever, and just trying to paint over that with fancy binge dates on the weekend and going on beach vacations and all that jazz. And I couldn't hide this. The physical dis-ease, being out of ease, being out of optimal, being out of balance, dangerously high blood pressure. I couldn't hide the mental stuff anymore. Anxiety, living on the verge of panic, the feeling so distant and disconnected from my wife. Couldn't hide that emotional stuff that I was a ball of anxiety. I was fearful. I was scared. I couldn't hide these things anymore. I couldn't hide them under excessive amounts of caffeine, which is really fashionable in the fitness industry. I couldn't hide them under needing a glass of wine or a glass of bourbon at the end of every night anymore. I couldn't hide them under daily visits, sometimes multiple visits per day to Pornhub, sometimes just turning it on in my car just to have something that made me feel something, feel good, to manage my stress, which is a pattern I learned back in 5th grade. I couldn't hide it under doom scrolling anymore. I couldn't hide it under punishing workouts that made me feel like good enough, just made me feel something anymore. I couldn't hide it under working harder to make more money anymore. And it was clear to me that if I continued on this path, that I wouldn't be around much longer. And the things that were most dear to me wouldn't be around much longer either. My grandfather passed away with, I think, 24 medications on his bedside table. The medical industry and all these pills, they didn't do anything for him. And I was sure as hell not going to go down the same path. The same path of working my ass off, having this cool title, this cool money, this work skill that I learned from my father, if this is how I was going to be. I wasn't going to go down the path of alcoholism that I learned from my stepdad to deal with working my ass off. I was not going to go down that same path. I wasn't going to go down the same path of all these medical issues from my grandfather. I was in no way fit to serve myself. I was in no way fit to serve my wife. I was in no way fit to serve the little feet that would soon be pitter-pattering down our hallways. All that I was fit to do was cope and hide all of this shit underneath all of these different coping patterns. A real dopamine addict, totally disconnected from the world and just trying to find the next thing to cope under. And so I said, fuck it. This is not going to happen to me. I'm not going to go down this route. I am going to change. And it was right around this time that I listened to Tim Ferriss. I listened to Ben Greenfield Fitness Podcast. And I had heard of this guy, Wim Hof. And I had heard of this guy, Niraj Naik. And I had heard of this guy by the name of Andy, who had this Headspace meditation app. After I looked into it, I was like, there's something to this meditation for working with anxiety and panic, even helping with blood pressure. There's something to this breathwork, this cold therapy for helping with the vascular system, lowering blood pressure and just helping people feel better. So I said, okay, I'm really going to do this. I'm going to do this stuff every day. I'm going to do breathwork. I'm going to meditate. And I'm going to start taking cold showers. And I did that. And relatively soon, I started to feel better. I started to feel much more calm, much more relaxed. I started to get almost addicted to it. People started to come up to me and be like, hey, you seem so much more chill. What's going on? I was like, I'm just doing breathwork meditation. That's it. They'd see me sitting out in the snow in the winter, like, what are you doing? You're crazy. And I'm like, it just feels good. Why don't you come out and do it? And there's something that happens when you start to do these practices, breathwork, meditation, anything that gets you back into your body. In that your prefrontal cortex, the thing that really makes you human, your ability to think, to logic, to make sense of things, that comes back online. Because when you're under stress, which we're designed to fight and run from bears, but it could be just a text message that came up on my phone right now, that your entire physiology interprets as a bear. When that happens, you lose 80% of the blood flow to the thinking areas of your brain, rendering you effectively dumb. You're an impulsive, reactive program, coping just to get through and numb out everything else that's going on underneath the surface. When I started to breath, when I started to meditate, when I started to do cold therapy, when I started to hold my hands over my head and just breathe for 5 minutes at a time, that blood flow came back, and I realized that this wall, this ladder I had been climbing, had been against the wrong wall the whole time. That all the things that I thought were important were somebody else's story. And just because they might have worked out for them, didn't mean that they had to be my story. I didn't have to go down this path. And so I started to climb down that ladder of work, and I started to step down from these positions. People are like, that's crazy, but okay, yeah, I'm not going to hold anything against you. And I started to train some of the people I used to work for, and my coworkers used to come to me and be like, hey, can you teach me how to get what you have gotten? And I was like, well, let me go get certified in it first. But yes, let me teach you. And I spent 18 months through the Temple of Kriya Yoga, immersed in meditation so that I could teach it. I spent 200 hours in yoga teacher training at the Temple of Kriya Yoga. I spent time, it took me probably 6 months to get through Breathwork facilitator training. I went through Heart Math Institute, stress, anxiety, self-regulation, the science of breathwork, meditation, how these things interface with all these mental, emotional problems that we deal with. And I realized that as I started to feel more calm, that just like fitness, which is what I had been training people in, developing training programs to help people accomplish their goals, developing nutrition, lifestyle programs to help them do this as well, because, I was a nutrition coach too. And just like how I could help somebody train to run a marathon. Okay, we got 12 months. Here's how we're going to periodize it. I'm going to build it out and taper you up there. I could do the same thing with these inner qualities. I want to be less anxious. Well, what is that? I want to be more calm. I want to be less irritable. I want to lose my temper less. Well, what is that? I want to be more patient. I want to be less distracted and in the doom scroll, and I want to be more present. I want to be less reactive and disconnected and aloof with my wife, and I want to be more deeply connected. I want to be less numb, and I really want to feel into the person in front of me, my wife. That's called empathy and intimacy. I realized that these are all just skills that I was never given. I was never taught how to cultivate these qualities, to cultivate these skills, to cultivate these traits. And I realized I could use these practices that had helped me and just put them in a periodized program, just like any fitness program, and start to build these skills. And so I started to do that more seriously for myself. And I had coworkers come to me, and while I'm working and developing training programs with breathwork and meditation as part of them, of course, they were like, can I just stand next to you while I work? And I'm like, well, that's fucking weird, but okay. Yeah, why not? Just, stand here. We work, go about our days. And eventually, because this happened with different people who probably hadn't talked about it, over multiple weeks and months, I was like, why? This is weird. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to come stand next to me? And they told me, well, it just feels calming to be in your presence. It just feels calming to be around you. I was like, oh, that's fucking weird, but okay. What I realize now, after all of the work, all the certifications and study that I've done, is that because your nervous system, watching this right now, emits an electromagnetic field from your biological oscillators, your heart, your brain, your digestive system, your gut has a brain in it too, biological oscillators. It emits an electromagnetic field. The heart is the biggest, most powerful field in the body. Into the space around you, minimum of 2 feet. Your nervous system is always communicating with the nervous system of other beings, other living organisms in the room. It's why you can walk into a room and see somebody for the first time and be like, fuck that guy, I don't like that guy. And also why you can walk into the room and meet somebody for the first time and just be like, I really like you. We haven't even said a word yet. Because the majority of communication is actually your nervous system communicating with theirs. There are no secrets. You pick up on everything. And so what was happening is that my coworkers, who were also anxious, also stressed like me, even though they tried to cope it and hide it underneath the surface, just like I did, just like you have probably done, and maybe you're doing right now, they could just stand in my electromagnetic field, the torus around my body, and feel that calming effect. I call this the safe harbor effect. I have so many men and fathers, and more than that, nowadays, husbands that want to be this for their wives, and they say, I want to be the safe harbor for them. I want them to be able to come to me for anything. And what I learned through this experience is, it's one thing to say that, guys. And there's a book called The Speed of Trust, beautiful book. You can build trust in you by doing the things that you say that you're going to do. And you start with small things like, hey, honey, I'm going to put my laundry away. I'm going to make coffee for you every morning. Yes, buddy, we're going to go play together. And then you go do that, and they start to trust you. But more powerful than that, if you want to create this safe harbor that your wife can always just come into no matter what she's got going on, and she can just lean into you and trust that you got her. You're going to hold her. You can make everything okay. If you want to create a relationship that your kids know they can always come to you because dad has you and everything's going to be okay. It's not about what you say or what you do. It's about your nervous system. When you cultivate this quality within yourself, this coherence, this balance between the stress response and the relaxation response, sympathetic nervous system activation and parasympathetic, through this breathwork, through this meditation, through cold therapy, because what that does, after repeated practice, you actually increase the parasympathetic tone in your nervous system, strengthening that calm. You emit a more calming, more powerful feel. So your wife, your kids, your coworkers are going to come to you and be like, hey, can I just be with you? I feel safe. This is what it means to be a safe harbor, guys. This is really what it means. You're like the sun, radiating out at everybody else, warming them with your light. What do flowers do in the light? They bloom, right? You bring out the fullest potential in your wife and your kids. Ooh, sorry, I punched my desk. And everybody around you. This is the potential. This is what I stumbled upon. But moving forward from there, I got a comment here, needed to be here, learning a lot. Yeah. Yes, Marty, hell yeah, man. Just talk. As a man, this stuff is scary for me. Yes. Guys, I really think, Marty, thank you for that comment in the chat. I really think that as men, we are actually the more emotional beings. We express and experience emotion far different than our women. For men, it's a lot more high intensity, anger, frustration. That's how we want to direct it. And because of this, and because of our capacity, we're so strong. We are capable of so much destruction. One, warrior codes, samurai, bushido, Spartans, all of this stuff existed because of this, because we are capable of so much immense destructive potential, guys. And so warrior codes had to come about, codes of honor, codes of virtue. Vir means man. Virtue means manliness, the way of being a man. These things had to come about to help us control these impulses. But I also think that in order to control men, because we are so emotional, now you're going to start seeing it. You see it in little boys more than anybody else. Just look at them. Tell me that men aren't emotional. As emotional as women, just a different expression. And because we have so much capacity for destruction, if that's unbalanced, rather than trying to find a balanced way to teach our boys how to regulate this, we just told them to shove it down, suppress it, suck it the fuck up, and get out on the field. Nobody cares how you feel. And that's why so many men are afraid to talk about this stuff. Because it's not manually, right? Some of our two deepest core wounds as men are, one, what if I'm not good enough? And what if everyone else finds out? And so I'm going to hide those scary aspects of myself down. I'm not going to let people know that I have these feelings. Why? Because the second wound is, what if I'm abandoned? And I mean just as a child, but in my relationship. Because someone finds these things out about me, whatever it is. And so we shove it down, we suppress it, and we are terrified to say, yeah, man, I have feelings. I'm scared about being a father. I'm scared about my relationship with my wife. I don't want to lose her. Fuck, man. That is a whole nother layer of depth. And telling you just to suck it up, that's not manly. Well, that's how we got ourselves into the messes that we're in right now. Having the skills and the tools and this wisdom, guys, is non-negotiable. Because there's a different layer of masculinity, of husbandhood, of fatherhood that is accessible for you and your boys, your daughters, and their future partners. Marty, yeah, man. Marty, just drop into my profile, shoot me a DM. Let's chat, man. There's a different level of manhood, husbandhood, fatherhood that's accessible. There's level 1. We can call it neo-machismo, what the feminists refer to as 1950s masculinity, a relationship of domination. You do this for me because. And yes, I go to work and I provide, but therefore you do everything that I want. It's a cartoonish projection, cartoonish portrayal of what masculinity is. So that's one, right? Uber masculine. A lot of people think that that's how I am because how I look and I like to lift weights. But then there's the second stage, and this is based on Data's stages of masculinity. This is something that I've come up with based on that. There's a second stage, which around the feminist revolution, when men were like, I should learn how to be more feminine and learn how to feel my feelings and go with the flow. And yes, the patriarchy and masculinity, they are the problem. And so I'm going to reject everything masculine about myself and become like a woman. And I'm going to learn how to have feelings and how to love and how to snuggle and how to nurture. But then our women complain that we don't follow through. We're doormats. We don't get things done around the house. We sit on the couch. We're good for nothing, right? And here's the shadow that comes out of this. So we have the overly masculinized, depolarized, because it's not masculinity, that stage 1. It's not enlightened version of that. It's a depolarized shadow version. Then we have stage 2, the depolarized feminine version, which with no balls whatsoever, right? There's no assertiveness. Whatever you want. We have no backbone. But level 3, guys, stage 3 is something totally different. And I think of it more as being the primal version of masculinity, husbandhood, and fatherhood. Prime being original, the origin. Like, if you get into yogic teachings, and I'm very heavy on this stuff, Shiva himself, Shiva and Shakti energy, yin and yang, positive, negative. Structure, order, and chaos, balanced within him. This is inside of you, too. Stage 3 is being able to take those quote-unquote male and female, masculine and feminine qualities, the assertiveness, the strength, the order creation of level 1, with the feeling, the ability to go with the flow, to nurture, to love of level 2, and learning how to operate at a higher level. Because really, guys, we're out here drawing our swords with our armor on, going out into the workforce so that we can provide for our families. It is no different than the hunting that we used to have to do. We're just bringing home, instead of the kill, we're bringing home money. When we get home, we have to be able to sheathe that sword, take it off, hang it up, take the armor off, and walk into that house. Because our wife and our kids, they are beautiful little flowers, right? And it's our job to take the best care of them possible, to give them the nurturing, the love, the food, the water, the sunlight, that sunlight from within us that I've already talked about. The guys came up with this Stay Solar slogan inside the Brotherhood so that we can extract their fullest potential. And what do flowers do? When the sun shines, they bloom. That's how we draw out the fullest potential in our wife and our kids. And our role as man, husband, father is to be the steward. And that's our work. And we have to be able to transition from the work, the battlefield, not even just sheathe the sword, but take it off, hang it up, and walk into that garden. No armor whatsoever. Soft, heart open, loving, down on our knees with them. And if we can't do that without cultivating these skills I've talked about, then we accidentally stab our kids with our sword and we overreact. Right? We never put it away. Nobody taught us how. We end up being so tanked up with our wife. Something happens and we shut down, we armor up. And she can't feel us and we can't feel her. And if that's the truth, empathy means to feel into. This is the foundation for intimacy, is to be able to be empathetic, to feel into her. You can't do that if you're numbed out. And if you, like me, taped over those gauges as a kid, because that's the model of masculinity you learn. And so you're totally numbed out and you can't feel the joy of the ones that you love because you're so used to numbing out, armoring up to the negative things, the anxiety, the fears. You just cover that over, or you cover that underneath everything else, all the coping patterns. And when you do that for long enough, this is called alexithymia. And there's even a name called male normative alexithymia, because men are twice as likely to experience this as women. You lose the capacity to feel anything. One of the rules inside of Order of Kings, Jedi Father training, is there is no good, there is no okay. There's no I'm fine. If I give you a feeling wheel, none of those things are on there. I want realness. What are you really feeling? And most guys can't get there yet because alexithymia means no words for emotion. And if you can't say it, if you don't have words to define it, you can't feel it. And if you can't feel into yourself, you cannot feel into your kids, your wife. And if you can't feel into them, you can never really understand them or have a relationship with them. Oh, some heavy shit. So where were we? We're talking about, oh man, breathwork, meditation, all this stuff. I'm starting to see these changes. I realize I can develop training programs to actually cultivate these skills as well. COVID happens. Boom. And for years, I had been afraid to start my own business, but because I had done this work, I could see the fears. And day 2 of COVID, after I had been laid off, I called up clients. I called up other people. I was like, hey guys, I'm starting my own business. Let's go. I've been afraid to do this for so many years, but there was no other path forward for me other than just continue walking. Just don't freeze. And that's so much of life, guys. Just keep moving forward, aligned towards the light, your highest potential, what can be. I have a whole story about Alexander the Great's horse. I'm going to spare you. You probably heard it if you listen to the podcast. So I started my own business. And for the first time, I was providing. That was really cool. Everybody else in the world was laid off, but I was making some money. That was good. And then it was April, right here. This back gate right next to me here. And remember, if you remember, I never wanted kids. Ever. Never wanted to bring them into the experience that I had. Not that it was bad, I just didn't want that for them. And also, all these stories about how terrible kids are, right? They're going to ruin your life. It's so expensive. Loud, dirty. And my wife standing at the back fence who used to yell at my stepmom and anybody really who asked us, when are you guys going to have kids? She said these words, I'm pregnant. And for our entire relationship, I would say every month, she played this joke on me with these words. And so I never believed her. And so I was just like, that's it. That was my reaction, right? But real quickly, I got the sense that she was serious. And all the things started to go through my head, all the stories about husbandhood and fatherhood, all the say goodbye to your wife because you're the least important person in the family now. Least important person in the family. She's not going to care about you anymore. She's only going to care about the kids. Dad's worthless for the first year or more because the kids don't need you. You're going to be tired all the time. Say goodbye to your body. You're not going to have time to work on yourself anymore. Say goodbye to your money. Kids are dirty. And it's not about you anymore. All these victim stories about fatherhood and husbandhood. And sorry about the rain if you can hear that right now. My studio is open air. And I saw all these stories swirling in my head. All the reasons why I had always told myself, like, yeah, I never want kids. And I saw them, and I realized that they were just stories. I said, just like I had said earlier, fuck that. I'm going to build a different experience of fatherhood. Maybe one that's never existed on the planet before. I don't care. But if I can do everything that I've done so far, then I can do this. And I'm going to write a different story of fatherhood than what I have received. Because if the common story is all these stories that I've heard, and the common experience is that people have 2 comorbidities, right? People are out of shape. People are overweight. People's marriages are falling apart. People have multiple different coping strategies. Porn was my biggest one, and then alcohol, and then doom scrolling, and then caffeine. People love their kids, but man, they're irritated by them. They fly off the handle. They lose their temper with them. And they leave them with memories of times that they lost their temper, and they're working so hard, but then they're in the doom scroll just trying to get by. They don't want to feel the negative shit, so they're on their phone, and before they know it, they're like, it's the end of the day, I didn't get to play with my kids. If this is the common experience, I don't want anything to do with it. Nothing. Because I don't want that for me, I don't want that for my kids. If that's common, if that's civilization, the pinnacle of existence that we've built here, like, oh, civilization is so cool. Fuck that. I don't want that. I would rather do what's uncommon. I would rather shatter the status quo and be a motherfucking savage outside of those walls, taking Rome down. I'm going to create a different story of fatherhood. And so that's what I set out to do. I was like, shit, I can take these practices that I've been teaching myself and other people, and I can apply this to fathering. And I will not tell you that it was easy. And I am not perfect. My kids, they still get me. Because our kids are little gurus. Guru means light bringer, right? I'm not here to teach you. They're here to teach us. And if anybody knows Ram Dass, the famous is not right, but the deeply influential, powerful, mystical yogic teacher, Ram Dass had a moment where he needed a particular microphone for any time he spoke on stage. And they gave him the wrong microphone. He just totally lost it on the organizer. And later he was laughing at himself because he realized, like, hey, this was God's test of me. And that microphone that I lost my shit over, and I am a yogic speaker, people come to me to learn how to get their life right. Hundreds, thousands of people. That was God in drag. Testing if I'm really the man that I say that I am. And that's our kids, guys. And so I set out to create a different story, a different version of fatherhood. Because the one that I see painted, the Robin Williams in Hook, workaholic dad, and the kids draw a picture of him falling out of a flaming airplane. He's the only one that doesn't have a parachute on. Or the Santa Claus, Scott Claus in that movie, workaholic dad, again. This is the models of fatherhood that we got as kids in pop culture. I didn't want to create any of that. I set out to create something different. And it was this time that men I had worked with secretly came to me like, dude, I just had a heart attack. And I don't know how to slow down. But my doctors say I have to do something. I'm an elite bodybuilder. Help me. The men started to come to me with anxiety and panic. And later, men started to come to me like, hey, my relationship is falling apart. Help me. My wife said that I need to do something or else. Help me. And I didn't set out to be here sitting in front of you as a coach of men or dads. I really didn't. But my unique situation put me in a position where men felt comfortable starting to come to me because they had seen what I had been through. They saw what I was building. They saw what I had. And then I could speak it in a way that really fuck, okay, I get it. I can do that. And it wasn't just talking. I'm not here to tell you things and be like, hey, go run this play that I gave you on paper. It's not about that. It's about the actual practice, the breathwork, the meditation, the emotional mastery training, learning how to call out your emotions. And then, did you know that you can tap on points in your body to downregulate the amygdala fear center, that you can use breath to turn off your stress response and get into that coherent state that I talked about? No, you should know that. People should teach you that. And guys, we've lost initiations in our culture. And you sitting here right now, you're a dad, or you're going to become one. Bro, you're going to be an elder. It's your job to initiate the next generation into these things, not give them the wisdom, to give them the actual embodied practice. We're supposed to have initiation from boyhood into manhood to understand responsibility, protecting and providing. That's not a father's role. That's every man's role. That's the bare minimum. We're supposed to have initiation from manhood into husbandhood, which also incorporates fatherhood. And it's not just protecting and providing, it's stewardship. Stewarding them, your wife and your kids, to their fullest potential. And how the hell are you going to do that if you're not at your own? Because habits and ways of being, guys, they're not taught. You can't just teach this stuff. They're caught. You have to embody it. They learn through your example. That's your real legacy. And that's what this whole thing is about. Why are we here? It's your role to give them not just this wisdom, but this embodied program to initiate them into the next level, give them these tools that you were never given until now. And all my shit is free, guys. I have a ton of mini trainings and I have these programs to walk you through this stuff to Sherpa you up this mountain because I'm just a little bit further ahead than you are. I don't have all the answers, but man, I can show you all the footholds. I can show you everything so you can create these changes for yourself too. And as a father and a husband and a leader, guys, we are here as a Zeus energy, as a chief, as a king. And we have to remember that power is given to the Zeus, the king, the chief, by all of those within the tribe, all of those within the family, the wife, the kids, mostly unconsciously. And as soon as we prove that we no longer hold their highest interest in our hearts, that role is taken away. So our job is to steward them to their fullest potential, to hold the highest interest not just of ourselves, but them in our hearts as well, and to show up for them every single day. This is a role to be earned, not one that we just get. Any man can have a child. It takes a special one to be a father and to steward them to that full potential. And even so, guys, knowing all this stuff, I started my own business. Men started to come to me. I created Men's Yoga Transformation because I was like, hey, this is the way, right? Even so, I was struggling. I had set out to create a business that I could be entirely present with and available for my family and provide for them at the same time. And yeah, it was going, but man, it was a fucking struggle. And 10 months in, we had my son, and I was doing great as a dad, but man, even though my wife and I swore that, because we knew in 18 years, my son, if we do it right, if we steward him to his fullest potential, he could be leaving the house in 18 years, and then it's us again, right? We know that. It's me and her in it for life, and we swore that we would put each other first because we understood that our quality of our connection is the foundation for everything else. Even so, 10 months in, we weren't as disconnected as we had been in the past, but man, we fell right into that old roommate story, that roommate trap, that story of like, the kids are going to come, she's not going to want you anymore, you guys are just going to be roommates for a little while. And even though we rejected it, and we're like, no, that will not happen to us, we fell into it anyway. Because that's how strong the programming is, guys. Even if you consciously reject it, it will show up. You will be compelled to reenact it. Your kids will be compelled to reenact it unless you have the embodied example of something else. 10 months in, we sat on the couch and we were going to have the talk again, the same talk we had every October. I'm unhappy. There's no physical connection. We haven't had sex for months. I don't feel like you want me. I don't feel good enough. She feels like she's not good enough because what do we do as guys, right? When we're disconnected, we stop. Like, hey, honey, I don't want to put pressure on you. I'm going to take care of myself. And in so doing, we stop courting her. We stop showing up. We stop doting on her. And then even though she's like, hey, I'm not physical. I'm not like that. I don't get turned on. I don't want it like you do. You stop putting your hands on her. And she feels like, well, maybe he's not interested in these things. These things, guys, they're playing out. And so we sat down and had this talk again. But this time we did it in a different way. To hold the other in complete non-judgment and just fucking love. And I'm not going to talk until you get everything out. And I just really want to understand you. And I want to do this together because we are in this together. It's not me versus you. This isn't a 50-50 partnership. We are both all in. It's really what marriage is. And shortly after that, I came to her with a crazy idea I didn't have the money. Sure as hell did. I was like, I need help because I'm not leading this relationship. I'm taking full ownership for the state of our relationship, for being roommates and being resentful and being as disconnected as we are. I'm gonna take full ownership for that. And I need help because I don't know how to lead. I grew up with my mom. I don't know what it means to be a man and a masculine. I can see it, I can build, but I don't have people to hold me to a standard. Only child. I've been going it alone for so long. But I have this crazy idea. And my business is okay, but like it's not really giving you the opportunity, my love, to stay at home with our child that you really want. And so I have this crazy idea. I don't know how I'm going to afford it, but I know it's going to work. And I propose this idea to her. I'm going to lean in to masculine mentorship and brotherhood. And I'm going to lean in to business mentorship to help me build this thing. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but I know it's going to work out. And she trusted me. I led. She followed. And in the next 12 months, being held to a standard by other men, not just being held to a standard, but having men call me on my bullshit and tell me like, hey, the way that you're delivering this, you sound like a little boy right now. And we need more balls from you. We need your cock energy. And we need you to stand up and breathe and say that to us again until we believe it, because we don't believe it because, well, you don't believe it. And in the next 12 months of being held to that standard, I made $50,000 that I normally wouldn't have made, launched this business that wouldn't have been here. But not only that, I got to eat breakfast and dinner with my kids every single day, got in the best shape of my life, which, you know, you're busy as a parent. You're not supposed to be able to do that. Well, I found the fucking time. I stopped wasting time. And not only that, I started dating my wife again, and this isn't just taking her on external dates. This is creating moments throughout the day, check in with her, and to court her, to be with her. I reignited a flame and a spark in our relationship that was hotter than we had ever had. We had more sex, more intimate sex, deeper connection than even when we were not just engaged, but when we started dating. It was 2 years ago now. We continue that to this day. Because I learned, I was not just given a model, but I was held to that standard with brotherhood, which is the next missing piece, guys. And that's what has me sitting in front of you now, bringing forward the Order of Kings and bringing forward Jedi Father training, which is Jedi Father training, guys. I used to just do the Order of Kings. Jedi Father training is everything in 30 days. 10% of the price. Taking $2,700 off that, $300. Come into it. Let's go. I'm going to give you everything. Everything. I'm going to hold you to a standard. You're going to get the practice every single day. You're going to sit in brotherhood. Because really, guys, we cannot steward the next generation to their fullest potential unless we are living it ourselves. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in our relationships, financially, professionally, living a life of purpose and service, unless we're doing it ourselves. So our example really is that legacy. Our sons will emulate our example. And our daughters will tolerate it and look for it in the men around us. So right now, hero's journey, you stand on the threshold, Gandalf comes and tells Bilbo, I want you to come on this adventure with me. Does the same thing with Frodo. And Frodo and Bilbo could just stay in the Shire, right? You just stay there. Or they could step across the threshold. If you're listening to this now, you're standing at the threshold. And the hero's journey never stops. Once you complete it, you do your work, your life changes. Congratulations, there's another one. It's a vortex. It's time for you to face the dragon. And the dragon that you do not face, the curses that you do not shatter in my life, divorce, alcoholism, physical abuse, heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, all the ways of eating, treating the body, work, all of that stuff. Those are the cycles, guys. You can be the transitional character in your family line. The transitional character psychologically is the man who recognizes the cycles and in one lifetime goes through all the work necessary to shatter them once and for all. And your kids, 100 years from now will look back and wonder just how they have it so good. Not financially, but just like mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, how is it so good? They may not even know your name. But you will be the one who started that for them. And that's our role, man. Yeah, Marty, I'm 37. Still don't know what it means to be a masculine man and connect with my emotions, my feelings, need to connect with myself inside and out, guys. That's what we're being called to. We stand at the precipice. Our fathers had to focus on protecting and providing. World War II, protecting. After that, providing. Putting food on the table. My dad doing everything he could to put food on the table. Level 1, sustenance. Now, guys, we have enough, most of us, even if we're grinding, we're going to be okay. We stand at the level where we're being called to something deeper. Now we get to protect and provide at the mental and emotional realms for our kids. We get to heal the family wounds that our parents, our fathers, they didn't have the luxury of being able to do this work. I'm so grateful for the things I inherited from my dad. His dad died when he was 18. He had to take care of his family and his 4 siblings and teach his mom how to drive. No wonder why he worked so hard. No wonder why I picked that pattern up. My stepfather watched his mom commit suicide in front of him because of the relationship with his father. No wonder why he struggled with the things that he did. We have to redeem our fathers, shatter the cycles and the patterns that they didn't have the luxury to become aware of, and lift the whole fucking bloodline together, guys. That's it. So that's what I got for you guys. I hope this has been quality content for you. If you want more of this, please reply, drop a comment in here, share it with somebody. And just hit me with your questions, guys. I'm here to help you. Like I said, this isn't about me. I hate talking about myself, but this is the opportunity just to say, maybe there's a piece of you that you recognize in my story. And I want you to know that if I can do any of this, you are capable of all of it too. Because I am no different than you, other than we're in different bodies. So I can do what you can too. Marty, thank you for being here this whole time. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Share it. This is a value for value thing. I'm never going to take ads for any of this. I'm going to put this on the podcast in a day or so. And share it, guys. Without further ado, appreciate each and every one of you. Have an uncommon day. Peace.